The majority of people that are coming to me go, I have an advisor right now. I just don't know if I'm getting value to justify the fee. Yeah, they're helping with investments, but I hear what you guys are talking about, and it's the conversions, and it's the withdrawal strategy, and it's the healthcare, it's the estate planning. And it seems like you kind of care about us from a very deep level, less of just us as a number here. And so I just want to kind of see, does this make sense? So today is not me saying you got to work with an advisor, you don't got to work with an advisor. Today is me helping you think about fees. And is it worth hiring an advisor? There is a real quantifiable reason to work with an advisor. In the same way, there's a very clear reason to get surgery. I paid $30,000 out of my pocket to get a very serious but high quality hip procedure because I love playing soccer and I wanted a specific doctor. Could I have gone to any doctor? Of course, but I just wanted this doctor. Now, my parents were like, listen, I know you think it's this fancy procedure, but a lot of people do this. You don't need to pay that amount. You could get it covered. I go, I know, but I'm going to sleep better at night knowing if something did screw up, I was with this team. So that was just a decision I chose to make. Now, some of you feel similarly and go, I want to work with this advisor and this team because I sleep better at night knowing they are looking at my money. And if something really bad happens, I know there's a plan, how we're going to take advantage of it, be strategic. And others of you go, no, I'm good. Like, I can be my own advisor. I don't really need to work with someone. I just don't feel there's value there. So it comes down to, do you feel there's value? And if you're going to be more stressed looking at your statement every month going, well, there's the fee and here's the value. And yeah, I see it's more than that, but it still just irks me. Well, then don't hire an advisor. Like, you're hiring an advisor to de-stress your life. Now, I'm going to walk you through to understand the quantifiable value of working with an advisor. So you can go, hey, does this make sense? Does this not make sense? Is it worth the cost? Because I have clients right now that have $3 million plus with us going, I am over the moon to pay you guys $25,000 a year because you're making me 40, 60, 80, 100,000 plus in value, and I'm sleeping better at night. I have other clients that go, I believe you're adding value. The fact that you guys are doing this, I cannot tell you. My wife is sleeping better. I'm not worrying. I used to spend so much time watching the markets. Now I don't have to do this. So that can't exactly be quantified. Now, it's something to consider. It's not the reason to hire someone. But when you're hiring an advisor, you shouldn't just hire them because your neighbor has one. You shouldn't just hire them because you think you might need one. You should hire an advisor when you go, oh my gosh, I think my life is going to be so much better. I think I'm going to make way more money. I think I'm going to save way more in taxes. And I think I'm not going to have to worry about this anymore. Those are the reasons to hire an advisor. Now, some of you are like, I feel I have a really good sense of my finances. I feel like I don't really need someone, but I do want to be able to play around with just the software you use. I don't need one-on-one guidance. I don't need to talk to you guys. I just want to use that tool, and I want to see, how do I use that tool because it looks pretty cool. Well, I've got an academy here. It's for a few $100. You can get guidance. Now, guidance in the sense of, okay, am I on track? You're running all your own projections. You have me as a guide along the way to show you what buttons to click, but it doesn't go deep into, hey, should we do this conversion or healthcare analysis? And it's staying high level to make sure that you understand loosely, are you on track for your goal? So if that's what you're looking for, there's some cool, you can see how much should I convert and how do I think through this, but you don't get actual one-on-one guidance. So if you're like, that's all I need, then that's why I created it, and it's right there. I'm going to explain to you a very dangerous thing I saw an advisor do, and I want you to follow along. Now, it's not super complicated, but if you have not heard me discuss Roth conversions or tax planning in any detail, it might be a little difficult at the beginning, but I'm going to make it easy for you. So I promise you don't have to go watch a separate video and come back to this. So someone came to me and said, Ari, I'm going to get killed in taxes later. I go, I know, because I look at your accounts and this is what you're telling me. And you're going to have these future, what are called required minimum distributions, where you have to take out a lot of money, maybe more than you even need, but you also have Social Security, and maybe there's also a pension, and maybe there's also rental income. So you're going to get hit with a lot of taxes. And they're like, yeah, I know that. That's why I'm coming to you. I go, all good. And then I said, you should probably consider doing some tax planning strategies earlier than later for the brackets change, because tax brackets are about to change. Not like tomorrow, but 2026, they sunset. So I want to make sure we're being strategic this year and next year to get more bang for your buck. You do it earlier, you save more in taxes. They're like, let's do this. I go, let me do a whole, analysis for you real quick. And they're like, okay, fine. I think I know I should do this, but if you really want to, go for it. So I did it. And I said, flip to the last page of this 40-page report. What does it say you should do? They go, it says I should do 0. I go, that's true. I want you to do 0. They're like, but you said I was going to get killed in taxes later. I go, no, I said annihilated. They're like, but you said I should do it sooner than later. I go, you really should. They're like, then why 0? I go, oh, well, you told me your mom's not in good health and you're retiring so early. We have plenty of time to do good tax strategy. go take that $70,000 cruise ship trip with your mom, have a blast, and we're going to be doing lots of conversions for these remainder years so you don't get killed in taxes. And they were like, oh, so it's not just a financial answer. You got to connect it to real life. And I go, that's the point of planning. And the reason I tell this story, which is a real story, is someone came to an advisor that I was shadowing and said, tell me why I am going to make more money working with you. And if you're not going to show me that, then I don't want to work with you. So this advisor is trying to win the business. They're trying to get a new client, which even if advisors don't say it that way, that's what life is. They're trying to grow the business and the company and more revenue. And I want to grow the business and I want to help more people. But there's an ethical way to do it and then there's a less ethical. And so what they did in this case is they did something like this. So I'm sharing my screen so you guys can see this right now. They went to this client who, here as you can see, they're 54 and 51 and they're wondering, should I get guidance from you? And they showed them, they said, if you work with us, we are going to be able to save you $1.8 million more dollars. Meaning if you're paying us $25,000 a year, you're never going to have to worry about, are we justifying the value? Now, I did not like when they did this. And you're like, why not? This looks pretty good. 1.8 million is a lot of money. I might recommend that they spend more when they have their years of their energy and their health, traveling and really enjoying life to the fullest, maybe retiring even earlier, even if it means doing less Roth conversion. So in my example, you can see here, I might recommend doing them and it's going to add a few $100,000 and they enjoyed their life a whole lot more along the way. Because I've seen advisors go, why don't you work a little longer? Yeah, don't worry about travel and retirement. You could do a little bit of it, but you really don't want to run out of money, right? And they're like, oh, I definitely don't want to run out. And so the advisor is putting fear into them to say, work longer, do more Roth conversions. And now they actually spent less during their life that they otherwise would have really enjoyed. And now they're going to be 85 with $10 million going, why didn't I spend more when I had my energy and my health? And they didn't because they didn't feel confident to do so. So the point of working with an advisor and why I do these stories is, yeah, you want to make sure there's value. And sometimes I come to a client and I show them something like this, where someone comes to me and they go, Ari, I already did the conversions. They say it with a little attitude. I'm like, great. I wish you did nothing at all. And they're like, why? I go, well, you actually did so many conversions and you tried to do so much from a video you saw that you're going to have 5 million fewer dollars. And I wish you would have done nothing and instead actually brought less income, but did it part-time at a job that's less stressful, that you enjoyed more. And they're like, oh, I didn't consider that alternative. So there are certain things that an advisor should give you guidance on, whether it's tax planning or withdrawal strategy or healthcare. And that's, in my opinion, the reason to hire an advisor. So when people ask me, should I work with an advisor? Should I not? Is it worth the fee? You have to ask yourself, what is the value I'm getting? So what you're looking at here on my screen, this is a comparison chart of a traditional advisor versus Root and what a lot of other advisors like us that do holistic planning do. So we're not the only ones doing this. Now, the cool thing about working with us is most people reach out and go, hey, I've already interviewed you guys for hundreds of hours. I know your partner, James. I know you. I've got a good sense of your team. I'm excited. So a traditional advisor here, this is someone who's going to rebalance and they're going to give you specific recommendations. You should own this mutual fund or this ETF. They might even incorporate other stuff, not all the time, but hey, you have a pension, here's when you should collect Social Security or whatever it is. Not all the time. This is a traditional advisor. Now, I will say on my videos, if that's what you're getting from an advisor, that's what you're interested in receiving, I'm not sure you should hire an advisor. Now, if you can all imagine for a second, other advisors watch my videos as well, and my partner, James. They are learning from us. They are getting education. They want to work with us. And they don't like when I say that. They'll shoot me emails. Hey, do you mind not saying that anymore? Because you're kind of like hurting my business when you say that, because that's kind of what we're providing. I go, that's not my problem. My job is not to be the best friend of my clients. My job is to be kind and make sure we have a good relationship, but it's really to add significant value so that they don't have to worry about running the risk of running out of money. And I don't know how anyone could actually feel confident about retirement and optimizing it. Excuse me. I get a little excited about this stuff, okay, which we're going to go through in a second. What is the real difference? But when it comes to real planning, I want to make sure the only way you're going to really get value truthfully in working with an advisor is if you feel confident that they actually are making you feel you're in a wonderful spot. And the way to do that is by stress testing and understanding, what if markets do drop? and I get unlucky when I retire? Or what if Social Security is reduced, or inflation's way higher, or my returns are lower, or taxes go up and I live longer than I think, and healthcare costs? And okay, let's assume we're like super unlucky. Are we still okay to retire? This is why I say I'm the meanest advisor. I'm not actually, but I don't want you to run the risk of running out of money and going, why didn't I work 6 more months or 1 more year? And I'll also be the first person to say, why on earth are you working? You told me you didn't want to die with this amount of money. You only have 1 child. You're not trying to leave $3 million to each child. So real in-depth planning goes deeper than simply, am I rebalancing? Am I on track? It's got to go more into this. So we're doing all of the tax planning. I don't know if anyone could really personally receive value from an advisor if that advisor does not ask for a tax return. So an example of what I'm doing with clients, and this might be too much information for some of you, but for those that are like, yes, this is what I'm looking for, is it worth the cost? Well, here's a client that right now I work with. They are retired. They have $224,000 of income coming in the door. I said, how much do you need so you can like meet your living expenses and do everything you want to do? They're like, I'd love $10,000 a month. I go, okay, is that before taxes or after taxes? They go, oh, I don't really know. I go, let's assume it's after taxes. You need $10,000 a month after taxes adjusted for inflation. They go, yeah. I go, cool. That's $120,000 a year. You have $220,000 coming in. Do you see the problem here? They go, I don't see the problem. I just see more money coming in than I need. So like, I think this is good. I go, this is not good. This is, you have 2 pensions, in this scenario for this couple, they have 2 Social Security benefits, 1 pension, small rental income, and they just inherited this big account from their mom. So they have more income coming in than they even need. And they're like, I don't really see the problem here. I go, the problem is anything beyond what you need gets taxed at your not so fun rate, which is your highest marginal bracket. And we're not taking advantage of opportunities. Right now, your taxable income is this amount. We should at least be filling up this bracket. And here's how much it would mean that you're going to save later. And oh, by the way, you don't even have any carry forward losses, meaning last year we didn't really save on things we should have. And so there's a lot of opportunities that exist to take advantage of. You've got capital gains brackets. You're itemizing, but you should be doing this charitable strategy instead. And you're actually bumping yourself up to the next bracket for Medicare. And so someone stopped me once and they said, Ari, isn't that what my CPA should be doing? Like, this is, my CPA sucks. I go, they don't suck. Your CPA is not going to do the tax brackets changing and the conversions and the healthcare. They're not doing any of that. That's what your advisor should be doing. And your advisor is adding value through making sure you don't have a new job in retirement. You know what that's called? Coordinator, where now you have to coordinate every aspect of tax and withdrawal and healthcare and investments. And you should have a cohesive strategy that tells you how to do all of this. We also have what's called our purpose finder. This I take very seriously, and this is something I don't let people off the hook on, and this is why some people don't love me, which is if you don't have a plan for purpose and how you want to spend your time and optimally think through what this next stage of life looks like, well, we're not going to have success in retirement. So someone came to me once and they go, I know what you're going to say. I have $7 million. I can retire. I'm not going to run out. I go, that's not your problem. And no, my green light would not let you retire. And they're like, why not? I've like double the amount of my neighbor. I don't care if you have 10 times the amount. You don't know what the heck you're going to do. You're going to end up going back to work because you're going to miss your coworkers. You're not going to prioritize your health. And I need to make sure you're thinking about this in an intentional manner. And you might not be worrying about this, but your spouse might be. They might not know what they want to do in retirement. They might be worried. They might not want to spend as much time with you, or they might want to spend a whole lot more time with you because they haven't had you around for 20, 30 years. And you're like, hey, I kind of want to redate my spouse, but I don't know, do we want to do the same things? Some people do, some people don't. So I invite you, like, these are the types of things that we are bringing to our clients and making sure it's all being coordinated. So we have healthcare experts that all of our clients are speaking with to make sure they don't pay more than they need to. These are Medicare experts. We're identifying and helping with everything from life insurance to long-term care to disability to home to auto to umbrella. We're doing this next level of planning. We help all clients make sure they have trusts and wills and medical directives and power of attorneys. And we're making sure they have a dynamic withdrawal strategy, because you know what most people do? They go like this. They go, I want to spend $10,000 a month. They close their eyes and they just take $10,000 a month no matter what. I'm not here to be your best friend. There are going to be times where I go to my clients and I say, guys, I need you to not spend $10,000 a month, but I need you to spend $8,700 every month. Just not every month forever. Every month for the next 3 months, because markets are down. You're paying for travel, which I like that you're doing, but we've got these additional healthcare costs, not for forever, just till Medicare gets kicked in. And so I need some way to make sure that we are accounting for this, but I don't want you to run the risk of running out of money or going back to work. So I need you to temporarily cut expenses, not forever. And here's the magnitude of that decision. We're going to cut expenses while we do Roth conversions, while we're harvesting. Here's what it could mean you could spend next year. And most clients go, I didn't know that was like an $80,000 decision. I'm open to saving money. I just didn't know that's the level that I was going to save by doing something like that. And then there's other times I go to my clients and I go, and I'm only bringing this up because I have a client who did this. I have a client who's like, I want to take private jet tours every year for National Geographic, like the $100,000 trips. I go, you can't do it every year. Now, this year, in this example for the client, I said, I'm going to be mad if you don't do it because you told me you didn't want to die with this amount of money and you're in a fine spot to do so. So can you do it every single year? No. But this year, please do it. And if you don't, I'm going to be angry because you told me that this was important to you. So we're doing all the withdrawal. We're doing all the estate. So more often than not, someone comes to me and they go, Ari, I'm paying an advisor 1% right now. Is it worth paying them? And I'll say, are you really paying them 1% or are you paying them way more than that? And they're like, I just told you I'm paying them 1%. I go, okay. What is your current portfolio? And this is a real person that came to me. And they said, my portfolio has $4.4 million. That's 1% of that. That's $44,000 a year. And I asked them, I said, are you getting value for that? They're like, I don't really know, but my wife's really happy and I think we're making more money than we're paying, but it's not really clear in my statement, but it's pretty good. I just saw your guys' videos and it seems like it goes deeper. I go, you're not paying $44,000 a year. They go, yes, I am. 1% of 4.4 is 44. I go, what are all the hidden fees of these investments you own? They're like, well, I don't know, but I tried to figure it out once, but I actually was like reading this prospectus, which kind of is like the most boring document ever. And I go, I don't disagree. It is. You own a lot of funds that are owning the same thing. There's lots of duplicates. Your portfolio is not optimized. And there's a lot of hidden fees in there. And when you add up all of the hidden fees of the investments you own, it's an additional $35,000 you're paying. And they're like, hold on. Are you telling me I'm paying an advisor $44,000 and that I'm also paying $35,000 just to own the investments I have? I go, that's true. You're paying about $80,000. They're like, well, what would it be with you? I go, probably half of that. They're like, and I would get all of these other services that I'm not getting right now? I go, yeah. And they go, well, then let's do this. I go, no, that's not the reason to hire someone. This is just an additional consideration. Fees are just an aspect of this, a very important aspect. It's not the reason to hire someone or not hire someone, but I need to make sure that when you're working with an advisor, you're aware of, okay, what are all the costs? Because I have clients that are with these big expenses and they have a fund that's done really well, meaning they own this fund right now. The fee to own the fund is 1.2%. So what that means is if they got a 10% return, they didn't. They got an 8.8% return, but the fund's done really well. And we have to ask ourselves, okay, is it doing better than an $11,000 a year fee? Most of the time, there will be a year it does, and then the years it does not outperform. So now you underperformed owning a very low-cost alternative, and you also paid this big fee. So the question is it worth it? And you go through exercises to identify which funds make sense keeping. And if I owned a fund, but it's in a non-retirement account, should I sell it? Because if you were to be told by any advisor, hey, you got to go sell and diversify, but they weren't aware of the tax burden that would come from that, then you should fire them yesterday. Because the truth is, it doesn't always make sense to diversify because there's a big concentrated position. So the point here is it worth paying an advisor? Well, you need to understand, what are you really looking for? Are you looking to be an advisor in retirement? If so, you're like, I want to be an advisor. I want to read tax law. I love this stuff. Or I don't have $2 million yet, but I want to work with you guys one day. That's who I recommend go get the academy. That's what this is designed for. If you're like, I want to work with you guys or someone on your team and this feels different and I see that you do the tax planning, but you really care about us as people and you're going to help me, optimize all of this. And maybe there's things I don't know because you guys are doing this all day. There's estate tax savings and, ensuring things are happening appropriately and making sure my wife and children feel they have a financial strategy and all of the tax and eliminating catastrophes, which you can't exactly quantify that. Ensure things get done. Can't exactly quantify that. But the question is there value? So our fee structure, I am super transparent. I am the weird advisor that loves talking about fees. Why? My parents were burned by 4 advisors. If you want the whole story, you can see it right here. But my parents were burned by 4 advisors, and the reason I am a financial advisor today is because there's significant value when you work with an advisor, and there's not significant value, and you can often overpay, which will lead you to working way longer than you think and actually need. And that's happened to my parents. Now, I'm lucky. My parents like what they do, but they're working in their 70s, and if it was up to them, they'd probably be working a lot less. So the point here is our structure is a tiered structure. It's based on the assets we're managing. So someone came to me and said, all right, if I have $3 million, is that $30,000 a year? I go, no, it's a tiered structure. It's 1% on the first million, that's $10,000. On the next $2 million, you can see it's 0.75%. So $10,000 on the first 1%, and an additional $15,000 on the next $2 million. So that's $25,000. The question is, am I going to get value to justify that? Now, some people recognize, hey, if you change my investments or protect me from markets going down, you could save the fee in a single day. I go, yeah, but that's not the reason to hire someone. You're hiring someone to no longer worry about this. Now, and this is what I care about deeply, there's no long-term contract working with us. Why do we do that? Well, my parents work with Wells Fargo, and they had to sign a 3-year contract saying you have to at least work with us for this period of time. They wanted it out after a year, and it felt wrong that they had to stay in there or had to pay a lot of fees. So people work with us, and we do monthly billing, and as long as they see value, they get to keep working with us. So we have a tiered structure here. There's no commissions, there's no kickbacks. The only way we ever make money is by our clients who see value in the work that we do. And let's assume after someone works with us after a year, I have very transparent people that I talk to. They're very nice, but they're very transparent because that's how I talk. They're like, all right, I think I'm going to get value. I think there's no question I'm going to get value. The tax, the estate, the withdrawal, I see the videos. You guys are great. But what if after a year, I want to be an advisor? I go, be my guest. You have an epiphany and you want to read the tax law and do all that? Amazing. Go do it. And then most people go, oh, I didn't know what went into all of this, and this is different, and I really love delegating this. Some people, it's rare, but some people go, you know what, Ari, it was really amazing. I had a great year. I learned a lot. But it turns out, once I retire, this is what I want to do. I go, great. Then I hope you were educated well and you're on your own here. So the point here is we have a very transparent fee structure. The one nice thing to be aware of, because not everyone is let's assume we were managing a $3 million portfolio and it was all pre-tax. If I sent my clients an invoice and I needed them to pay that, they would have to pay me with after-tax dollars. They'd have to sell a stock or use cash that's already been taxed to pay me my fee. That's not tax efficient. So we bill directly from the accounts, because if you have a $3 million portfolio, well, you got a deduction for it upfront. Maybe it was in a 401k. Maybe it moved to an IRA, and now you can invest in whatever you want. And so what we have the ability to do is debit directly from the account, so you don't have to pay taxes and then pay us. So it's almost like you're getting a deduction on what you already got a deduction for upfront. And so someone came to me and said, so can I pay at my grocery store with my 401k? I go, no, that's illegal. But you can absolutely pay an advisor and work with them through that structure. So today was a lot, 30 minutes on does it make sense to work with an advisor? And so I have a master plan, and we have different things that we recommend you review before even reaching out to us to see, is this something you're looking for? So I don't believe everyone needs an advisor. It comes down to timing and experience and holistic approach. And is this something you really want to do? And for those that want to work with us and they love it, and our clients that you can read about what they say on Google and Yelp and see, okay, are you like them? Are you looking for that type of guidance? That's why we exist. So hopefully this sheds some light as to, hey, when does it make sense, or when does it not make sense? Or am I crazy to pay this amount? Or, hey, are there really people that are paying you $90,000, $100,000 a year that have $20 million? There are. And there are other clients that go, I would never pay that because I love doing this and I don't need help. And so it comes down to what's the experience you're looking for. So longer video today, guys, but hopefully this was helpful.